Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Jean.
Nice to be meeting you finally.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I have heard so much about you. Tell us about your Tongren experience. You are an older Tongren healer than me. I'm still a little. I think I will be a young adult soon in the Tongren healing, and you are a slightly older adult in Tongren.
Right.
Okay. Tell us your experience.
When I was living in Rhode Island and I moved there, I got very ill and literally could not walk easily, could not go up the stairs, hardly at all. Was severely I had severe osteoporosis, rheumatoid arthritis. I was anemic, very bad anemic, and I really just couldn't do anything. I couldn't open a can anymore. I was an invalid for about 2 years, and my family took care of me, in particular my husband, and it was very, you're just used to doing everything for yourself, and then all of a sudden you can't, and it was very disconcerting. And a man that I knew, Father McDonough, who has had healing services in a religious sense for many, many years.
In Boston, right?
In Boston. And he said, you really have to go see this man who helped me. And he said that he had vasculitis, and the doctors couldn't do anything with all the antibiotics, and that suddenly, the cousin recommended Tom, and had been recommending him for 3 years. But he finally agreed after 3 years, and he went, and then he was cured. And so he told me about Tom, and he said, you have to go to this man. So for 3 months I kept putting him off because I'm afraid of needles, and he's an acupuncturist. So finally I couldn't put it off any longer, and I said I would go see him, and I did. And it's been a wonderful relationship, and within 6 months I went from being an invalid to being able to work again.
That's great.
And even though I still had pain, from the arthritis, as the years went on and I kept doing it, the pain left also. And I did not have to have a hip replacement that they thought I would have to have, and just everything in my life improved. And I really thought my life was over, and the doctors gave me a very bleak picture of the future.
But Tom was not just putting needles into you, he was doing energy healing, the Tongren on you, right?
That is true. He was doing the Tongren healing, and it's a very interesting method, but it's in your mind, and your mind connects with the collective unconscious. So it's actually a collective power. As he says, we have no Indian chiefs, we only have lazy bums. It's a collective unconscious that we connect with, and it's a collective power. We all have the same intent to heal. And as more and more people learn this method, it builds up this collective power of healing. And it's been a wonderful experience for me, and the first day I felt the energy. I had horrible digestion problems, and immediately I felt a warmth and a calmness in my digestive system.
Were you in the guinea pig class then?
No, not then. I was just coming for treatments once a week. We lived in Rhode Island, and my husband would drive me up once a week.
How long of a drive?
And I did that that was in 1998.
How long of a drive?
An hour and a half.
Wow.
An hour and a half. And he needed to take a day off of work in order to do it. But because of my consistently getting dramatically better, we did that. And then I had to move to Chicago. And he caught me crying one day in the office. And he said, why are you crying? Now remember, all I had experienced up to now is direct energy, acupuncture, and the very painful Twina massage. So he says,
painful but good for you.
Painful but very good for you.
No pain, no gain.
Yes, and I do Twina massage myself now on people. I'm
really?
Very firm believer in it.
Great.
Twina, I guess you would call it not really massage, but when you go in up against the spinal column at a 45-degree angle.
Yes, we all know.
Yes, and you get rid of those knots that block the electrical flow.
And you get the patient to scream at the beginning, and then he or she feels better later.
Yes, that's true. I mean, you do feel a lot better, and it's a very important part of it. My whole back was blocked, literally every single vertebrae. So, and as that became unblocked, I got more and more energy and was able to do more, was able to work. But when I said to him, I've just found somebody who's helping me, and my husband is retiring from the Navy, and we are moving back to Chicago. And I said, I won't be able to see you anymore. And he said, don't worry, we won't desert you just because you're in Chicago. And then he explained to me about Tongren therapy and how it can be done long distance.
Exactly.
Just like radio waves or electricity, you know, can go all across the world. There is an electrical component to this, and that is the same way. So I said, well, that's really wonderful, but in my head I'm thinking, it'll never work for me. You know, I had a doubt that it could ever really work.
You're not used to this concept.
I was not, and it was a very difficult concept for me to accept, as I think it is for most people. Now, not everybody. Some people accept it right away. But
most of my friends think I'm nuts.
Me too.
Thank you.
And frankly, I thought this was nuts also. So I definitely was one of those people who's very skeptical.
But it works.
It did. The first time I called in, it felt very much like receiving energy right in the office, and the calmness and the warmth came, and I was very impressed. So I started calling once a week, and eventually the hip pain that I still had on my left side, my right had cleared up. After 6 months, the rash and the hip pain and the hip joint healed. And it was just a wonderful thing, because the first thing I did was go out and ride a bike. And all this was over the phone. I did not come to see him.
No acupuncture needles, no touching.
No, nothing.
Yep.
And I went and I rode the bike, and I remember, and I hope Tom heard it in Boston, I yelled, and now I can ride my bike long distances. And
Great.
It's just wonderful to be able to do those things again.
That's really, really wonderful.
So I'm a very avid proponent of Tongren, and have...
And you become a healer yourself.
I have become a healer myself. I asked him if this is something people can learn. I really was doubtful that I could learn it, but I went to the first class and understood about maybe half of what I learned, and I went to the second class, understood a lot more by the third class.
But you have the Lazy Bum book. Everything is in there.
Well, we didn't have a Lazy Bum book back then. No, we did have books, and it did have all the different vertebrae and where.
Oh, I didn't know that, because I was lucky enough. I had the 2006 Lazy Bum book.
Right, and that explains everything very clearly. And he did have a book which still explained a lot.
The Tom Tam healing system?
Pardon?
The Tom Tam healing system.
That was the one that I bought and used. And that was a wonderful book, and it taught me a lot. And remember, I was in Chicago, so it wasn't easy for me to always come here and learn. But I did come. I came 2 or 3 times a year and would learn, and would also come for treatment for myself. But the arthritis kept improving, and I don't even want a blood test anymore. I don't want to even know if I have it, because I can do everything. So
yeah, as long as you feel great.
As long as I'm symptom.
Why bother?
Yes, So, and then I started treating people with Tongren therapy in Chicago after I learned it. And there's many people that felt much more comfortable, and especially people who suffered from cancer and were going through the effects of chemo and radiation, and also the cancer itself. It's been extremely effective. And Tongren, many of my friends called for phone treatments, and they also thought it was wonderful.
Good.
So as time goes on, I hope this spreads more and more, and I think it's a wonderful method that anybody can do. You can have a doctorate on a doctorate level, and I have a friend who's mentally challenged that does it for herself also.
Oh, really?
So you can go into it as much as you want, or you can just hit the ouch point and get a lot of success. Just the ouch point is where you hurt, by the way.
Yeah, and put the laser on it.
Or put the laser on it. In my friend's case, she really likes to bang that doll. I think it's therapeutic as well. But remember, it is the mind. The doll is a symbol. And you can do this every time you pick up that doll. It's a symbol, and 3,000 to 5,000 people are joining with you in that healing. And it's one of the reasons why it's been so successful. And Tom has studied and knows where to send the energy, and especially from his experience.
It's very scientific.
Very scientific. And I can't tell you that everybody who I've ever sent from him has never been sorry, and especially me.
Great.
I'm very lucky to have found it, and I wish all the people who are listening to me the best, and I hope you have a healing just like I had, that to live your life with great fun and adventure again. Thank
you, Sandy. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.